Today we have part 5 of the story with the headline, War's Bravest Deeds, Recollections of Episodes of Heroism by Land and Sea. The subheadline says, Stirring contributions from Colonel N.T. Willis, Major Alfred R. Calhoun, Captain George P. Singer, Edward Dawn. Today's installment is told by Colonel I.L. Wood. It says, it is an easy matter to remember acts of daring on the part of regiments and brigades of friend and foe, but in recalling battles, I find it very difficult to separate the man from the mass about him, or to distinguish the officer who fearlessly led from the private who was fearlessly followed. Taking it all through, I think that in Grant's campaign preceding the siege of Vicksburg, and during the siege itself, that I saw more acts of individual gallantry than I witnessed during the rest of my 4 years campaigning. This was no doubt due to my opportunities, rather than to the fact that cases of individual daring were more frequent in this than in other campaigns. Amongst all these cases, that of Sergeant Burner stands out conspicuously, for his bravery was so frequently illustrated from the time we crossed the Mississippi till we reached the Big Black, as to make his name and regiment, the 23rd Wisconsin, famous in all the Army. Burner was the only Pennsylvanian in this splendid regiment, a fact that gave him prominence from the first, and of which he felt very proud. As a matter of fact, I have always thought that the sergeant's gallantry was inspired more by a desire to defend the honor of the Keystone State than by a broader patriotism for the restoration of the Union. In the assault on Port Gibson, the 23rd Wisconsin came under a terrific storm of fire, and they wavered, and when the color sergeant was shot down, the line broke and looked as if it would be thrown back. The colors had not been a second on the ground when Sergeant Burner leaped forward, and flinging them aloft, he shouted with an oath that did not sound like profanity. "Follow the flag, boys, follow the flag." Some 40 or 50 men cheered and rallied about Burner, then all dashed forward on the earthwork, the rest of the command soon following, and the place was carried. Had this act stood alone, it would have made the sergeant a marked man for leadership and valor, but it was one only of many such incidents. At the Battle of Champion Hill, immediately after Port Gibson, the 23rd again wavered under an awful fire, and the colors were dropping to the rear. Quick as a flash, Burner seized them, and shouting, "There's less danger in front, boys, come on," he led his cheering comrades into the enemy's entrenchments, and they were carried with a rush. Another incident will show that this man's courage was not spasmodic, but a constant quantity. After the Battle of Big Black, the last fight before the investment of Vicksburg, Company B, Burners, of the 23rd Wisconsin, got orders from General Grant to silence, with the aid of 2 small pieces, one of the enemy's batteries that was very annoying. Soon the 2 guns were dismounted, and the 2 commissioned officers of Company B were wounded, the command devolving on Burner. Instead of falling back, as nearly any other man would have done, Burner shouted for his men to follow him, which they promptly did. They charged the battery, and a fierce hand-to-hand fight for its possession followed. Twice the sergeant was a prisoner, and twice released by the reinforcements hurried to his assistance. The result was that the battery was taken, Burner bringing off the colors with his own hand. Soon after this, the gallant fellow was made a captain, and as such distinguished himself during the siege. Not the least remarkable thing about this man was that though he never appeared to be so entirely happy as when he was mixed up in a hand-to-hand struggle, he went through all his battles without receiving a scratch. This installment was written by I.L. Wood. This story came from the great state of Wisconsin, being reported in the newspaper library of March 31st, 1894. Thank you for joining us today. If you want to continue to uncover all of America's lost and forgotten history, then remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.